It is that time of year. You're probably shopping for books and getting next year's school schedule set up, or at least thinking about it. If you're just beginning your homeschool journey or looking for more tips, and let's face it, we're always looking to improve on our homeschooling skills, then this show is for you. Hey moms, welcome to another episode of the Life Unboxed blog show, where we talk about all things momtrepreneur, from raising your kids to running a business, and the most important, keeping your sanity. I am Jodie the mom from lifeunboxed.blog. If you are enjoying this content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I truly appreciate your support. And if you're listening to the podcast, please share, download the podcast wherever you're listening, and leave a 5-star review. Remember, I would always love to hear your questions that you just can't seem to get answered. So let's talk about the elusive search for the best homeschool curriculum. So I had an epiphany a few years ago. It's the sudden, intuitive, perceptive kind about curriculum. As I was banging my head against the wall for the millionth time because I was frustrated with the curriculum, and so was my son, I realized something. Part of the reason we homeschool is so we can tailor curriculum and teaching to each child. I don't need to force my kids into a specific curriculum that we both end up hating. If you've been a parent for any length of time, you know that your child is unique. There may be similarities in personalities between your different kids, but no two children are alike. Homeschooling allows you to break the one-size-fits-all model of education and actually design your teaching and your curriculum for your specific child. So how do you pick the best curriculum for your children? There are a number of things to consider when you're looking into curriculum. I do recommend Cathy Duffy's book, 102 Top Picks for Homeschool Curriculum. So the list I'm going to give you could probably be longer, but here are the 5 things to keep in mind when you begin to pick curriculum. Number 1, how do you want to homeschool? Figure out how you want to homeschool. Remember, you don't have to pick a one-size-fits-all style. There are many different ways to homeschool. Do you want to be literature-based, follow a classical style, use traditional textbooks, or be eclectic? There isn't a right or wrong style, and that's why we love this so much. But figuring out your homeschool style and how you want to homeschool will benefit you and your child. So I'm going to leave an article in the description below and in the show notes, if you're listening to the podcast, that will take a deeper dive into different homeschool styles. If you are just starting out, be patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace. It's hard to pick a curriculum. And if you pick one and then decide to switch it out in the middle of the year, or even grid it out because you spent too much money on it, no mommy guilt here. We've all done it. And this is part of the process of figuring out the best curriculum for your child. Figure out what you like or dislike about certain curriculums that you're using. Even ask your friends what they like and dislike about curriculums they use. But don't discount their dislikes, because something that they dislike, you may actually like. So keep that in mind as you start to begin the elusive search for the best curriculum. Number 2, what subjects interest your child? Do you know you don't need to just teach reading, writing, and math? You can incorporate other things that your child is interested in. Are they interested in topics like animation, designing a website, learning another language, photography, or another subject? You are not limited to just reading, writing, and math. Yes, you may have certain state requirements that have to be met, and you want to make sure you do all of that. But don't limit yourself to just these subjects. Let your child explore their interests. I did this with my second son. He was very interested in animation, so I told him if he did well with the cores, I wouldn't add too much more extracurricular to that, and he could really start to build up his animation skills, which he has been doing for the past few years now. And at this point, if he continues on the trajectory that he is on, he could really have a excellent job skills by the time he's finished with high school. So keep that in mind as you look at different curriculums. And don't forget to consider what you're interested in. Yes, if you're going to be teaching this stuff, you might as well teach something that maybe has sparked your interest and you've wanted to learn but never had the time. Or two, like, you're not going to be bored either. So consider what sparks your interest, because something that you are interested in learning too that interest will translate to your children. So if you need help getting started, I'm going to leave a number of articles for you, and they cover these topics: choosing the basics, choosing skill subjects, choosing content subjects, and choosing dessert subjects. So be sure to check out those articles if you want to take a deeper dive into the different curriculum that is available to you. Also, another thing to keep in mind is you aren't limited to programs that are just for kids. Check out some of these other courses that are designed more for adults. Usually the videos on there are very good and are very informative as well. So for example, Skillshare. This is a great place if you have creative kids or they want to learn something digital or technical, or even if they want to learn a specific way to cook. You have things like that on there. Go ahead, sign up for a subscription and let your kids go wild. Let them get on there and just explore all the possibilities that they can learn. Number 3, you also want to consider your kids' learning styles. Now, there is a commonly accepted idea when it comes to learning styles. And again, I will leave the article for you in the link in the show notes below so that you can explore this further if you want. But the idea is that there are 4 main styles of learning, and understanding how your child learns is an important part of not getting frustrated with the curriculum, or that wonderful feeling of hitting your head against the brick wall because you just hate the curriculum that you're using. Understanding how your child learned is an extremely important part of picking curriculum. Okay, so I am going to give you a quick overview of the 4 different learning styles. And these are by no means deep. I just want to give you an idea in case you haven't heard them before. But definitely check out the link below if you want to dive further. And I also recommend a book by Cynthia, Ulrich, Tobias called The Way They Learn. This is a great little book if you want to understand the various learning styles. I enjoyed reading it, and the plus side, it was an easy read, so it wasn't like extremely technical. It was very practical, and I think it's less than 200 pages. So you're going to get through it quickly, and you're going to have a ton of information after you read it. But let me real quick give you the 4 main learning styles. First one is visual. So these learners need to see the information to learn it. Next is auditory. This student learns by hearing the information. Number 3 is read and write. This style learns by reading and writing the material. And then finally, there's kinesthetic. So these students need to touch and experience what they are learning. So keep these styles in mind as you're picking your curriculum. And again, if you need to if you want to take a deeper dive so that you can understand your children's learning style better, definitely check out The Way They Learn by Cynthia, Ulrich, Tobias. The fourth thing you need to keep in mind when choosing the best curriculum for your tribe is the cost. Curriculum can get incredibly expensive, especially if you need to buy for multiple kids. We always joke that we could go on vacations every year if we didn't homeschool our kids. And it's true, we could, but we've made that decision that this is where we're going to put our money. And so we save throughout the year so that we can buy the curriculum, when it's time. So some parents are able to actually reuse curriculum for their kids. But for my kids, I can't do that because one curriculum works for one and it just won't work for the other. If I tried to use it for another child, it would be difficult for all of us. So I really try to pick specific curriculum that works for their learning styles. The great thing, though, is that you can find used curriculum. Now, I understand not everything can be reused because if they're workbook based or something like that, you can't always, reuse those. And that's totally fine. But check out Facebook groups. There's a homeschool curriculum marketplace in Facebook where I have bought so many books from different other homeschool families, and it's a great way to really swap curriculum and to find what you're looking for. Because hey, some of those parents started using a curriculum too and may have gotten 3 to 4 pages into it and said, this does not work for us, so I'm going to go ahead and sell the rest of it and we're going to switch. So you may be the beneficiary of a parent switching curriculum mid-year. You never know. But check out eBay. And also I'm going to leave another link for you. This show is chock full of resources so that you can really choose a curriculum well and have the resources you need to figure that out as well. So I'm going to leave another link for you on how to homeschool cheaply or for free. There's tons of resources, and so this is going to give you kind of a sneak peek into where you can find those resources. The fifth thing that you really need to consider is parent involvement. Do you want to teach every subject, or do you even have the time to teach every subject? I work from home, so I need my kids to take responsibility for their own schoolwork. That means knowing where to find the assignments, knowing the lessons that they're expected to do, all that stuff. So my big three are able to do this, but they're high school, junior high, upper elementary school. So at this point, they're more than capable of reading directions and understanding what they need to do. My first grader still needs more of my attention, obviously, but there are still things that he is able to do on his own. For example, his math, he just has taken off with that. So the only thing I need to do is point him to the right lesson and he can do it on his own. Remember, homeschooling is not public school at home, so you can teach the way that you want. So from my own personal experience, I would have never considered Sunlight for the elementary or middle school grades because it's too parent intensive. That curriculum is intended for the parent to teach every single subject. However, for high school, it is intended for the high school student to be able to open up the book and run with it. So we are loving it for high school, but I just can't consider it for elementary school. As much as I love the amount of books that they read, it's too parent intensive for that age group. But high school, it's great for. I really hope I've given you a lot to consider when it comes to, and a lot of helpful resources when it comes to picking the best curriculum for your child. Remember, homeschooling gives you and your child the greatest freedom to learn. The best homeschool curriculum is the curriculum that fits your child's learning style and your style the best. So don't let anyone tell you that what you've picked is wrong, because you are the only one who knows your child the way you do. Remember, if you have any questions, please let me know, whether you leave it in the comments below or hop on over to lifeunboxed.blog and just put in a contact form. I would love to hear from you and hear what you have to say. I am so glad you joined me today. I've really enjoyed sharing with you my experience on how to choose the best curriculum for your tribe. If you're liking this content, please like the video and be sure to share it with your friends and download the podcast wherever you're listening. For more great momtrepreneur content, check out lifeunboxed.blog and be sure to check out the Life Unboxed store for all of your Mom Boss merch.